Hey everybody, Gordon with PC World here with Brad, our
Also from
GPU
PC
expert.
World.
Yeah, also from PC World. I want to take the opportunity to ask Brad a question I've been meaning to ask him. Is it a good idea to buy a used GPU?
Oh, that's easy. I thought you were going to get more personal.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually
No.
a question I get a lot. You know, people hit me up on Twitter asking that question. This is a question that people get very emotional about. Lots of people swear by used GPUs. Lots of people swear they will never buy a used GPU. I'm not against used parts.
Okay.
All right. You just did a video recently talking about used CPUs and why, they just sit there. They're a pretty good idea. And I agree with that. In general, I don't like to buy used graphics cards because graphics cards have a lot of moving parts. Graphics cards, you can overclock the snot out of them real easy.
Okay.
Between those two things, I think there's just a lot of risk involved with buying graphics cards for the prices that are normally charged used. If you could get a graphics card for, say, 50% off if it's used, it might be worthwhile. It's up to your own sense of risk and reward. But in general, you don't see used graphics cards going for that cheap for relatively recent ones.
So, so like 1080 Ti, great
Okay.
card, at one point $600, now they're at $1,200 retail because there's none left. You're saying you wouldn't pay $450, $500 for that?
I would not pay $450 or $500 for a GTX 1080 Ti. Nope. Even though I was just recommending people buy them new for more than that over an RTX 2080 just a year ago. Again, because the risk to reward is so high, and the fact that now we have faster graphics cards, or they're not necessarily faster than, say, the GTX 1080 Ti, something like the $400 Radeon RX 5700 XT, or the $500 2070 Super. They're not quite as fast as the GTX 1080 Ti, but they're awfully damn close, and you don't get the risk if you buy those new.
So the risk you're talking about, is it just because people have overclocked them, or we're talking about hangover from the old Bitcoin days?
All of that is a concern if you're talking about GTX 1080 Ti. Just in general, overclocking can shorten the life of a chip, and if people write it hard, it can make a big difference. That also can happen with CPUs. I'm not too so concerned about that. Like I said, it's because graphics cards also have tons of moving parts. They're not a simple thing. They're a very complicated piece of machinery. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, especially if it's been ridden hard for a long time. So there's much more chance of, coming up snake eyes when you buy used GPUs, I think.
But of course, that speaks to buying it on eBay or Craigslist from a random stranger, right? You just don't know this history of it. What about if you're buying it from a buddy?
If you're buying it from a buddy and you trust them, you can say, hey, Jeff, have you overclocked this? No, I just put it in there and been running it. It's been a year or two. Do you want it? You'll probably get a better buddy discount than you would get on the internet too.
That's
so
true.
that plays into it.
Okay, so that's okay. That's fine. But it's just buying it from...
Yeah, from Phil from Alabama or whatever. I mean, who knows what he's done with that card.
So it's just not worth the risk in general unless there's a huge discount, right?
Unless there's a huge discount, again, it depends on everybody and their own sense of risk versus reward. Because when you're buying used, you are taking a chance. The warranty's not going to carry over. The thing might not work when you get it there. eBay won't always return your money if you say it's broken. But if there's a chance to get something like a GTX 1080 Ti for like $300, like something that's a stupid price, that's real good, it might be much more worthwhile
To roll the dice.
Yeah, but
Roll the dice.
in the end, you are putting your money on the line when you're buying used.
Huh. Okay, so Brad basically saying not worth the risk unless there's a really good reward, and in general, it sounds like not really worth the risk. Anyway, that's Brad's opinion. Come back. We talk about this stuff all the time on The Full Nerd.